no matter what we do in our lives, we are who we are. Okay? All right? Instead of being a 10-year-old kid in my life and doing the normal things 10-year-old kids would do, okay, I started having this sense of curiosity on certain things like the sun, gravity, the earth, space, okay? Even without a comprehension, I had a thought concept of this, okay? These are the things that I thought of as a kid. I didn't play, I thought, okay? And still today, at 50 years old, about to turn 51, I still think most of the time on a day-to-day basis. I don't listen to music while I'm in my car. I listen to the wind and listen to my thoughts. I'm a philosopher at heart, a scientist at heart, but the thing that I truly am is a problem solver. Okay? Digging down into the scenario of what the problem is, how the problem occurred, or how it can be resolved. Okay? This, as a kid, started my trend of taking apart everything that I owned. Didn't matter if it broke, because in the beginning of me breaking everything that I tried to take apart, eventually I became understanding of those interworkings. Okay? I don't know if you've seen this video here, but this is the thing that us IT guys, or our scientists at heart guys, this is the reality that we have all wanted to see. A person with no hands since she was a baby or a toddler, however you want to look at it, okay, lost her hands to, I think, meningitis, whatever, and she has no reference of having hands from a memory perspective, so she can't tell you the difference it is of not having hands, of having hands and using mechanical hands. These, this is the most amazing thing that I never got to see, that I never thought I would be able to see in my life. Okay? Alright? I've always wanted to travel in space until I got to understand what really is in space. Okay? Just like Rick says in Rick and Morty, space wants to suck out your lungs, oxygen in your lungs, and vaporize the blood in your veins. Okay? From negative pressure. Alright? That's the reality of space. The more you know, the more you realize that, Earth is my home. And I have no desire to leave it. Okay? Alright? Meeting aliens is not something that I ever have a desire to do. Ever. Okay? Because, alright, I like breathing. Alright? And I like my blood in my veins having pressure around me. Okay? And since the Earth is around 14 psi of pressure, okay, I think I'm good. So my desire of space travel is null. Okay, not to mention the fact realizing that to travel from one side of our galaxy to another is 100,000 light years away or across. Okay, and I don't, and most people when I say that, okay, there's a difference between someone knowing and someone thinking they're knowing. Okay, and and the last argument I had with this person was the actual light years across, 100,000 light years across one side of the galaxy to the other of the Milky Way. That is a very large galaxy, okay? And the fact that galaxies are formed by having a black hole in the center, which makes scientific sense on why they exist and why we don't get to see black holes on a regular basis, because they're in the galaxy. Okay? Alright? So,
really been like...
those were the last two arguments I had with that person, and I used to put that person on a pedestal of knowledge until those last two discussions. Okay? Making it very clear that I was not dealing with a strong intellectual person, but dealing with a childish baby, okay, that always had to be right. All right? And I'm not an argument person. I love a good debate, okay? And I was doing a debate with those discussions while she was arguing. Okay? And I mean like brutally arguing, calling me stupid and things like that. That is a person that I have no time to interact with. Okay? I get no joy on saying someone is stupid. Okay? All right? And get angry over something that doesn't even really matter. Okay? Because in the end, I live on Earth. I don't live in space. Okay? I find space amazing because we all like magic in our lives. And I've always said, okay, if you want magic and you want to prove that magic exists, pay attention to space. That's where the magic is. Okay? That's where magic exists. What better way to prove magic where I throw you in space right above our orbit in of Earth, and we have a time dilation? I mean, if that's not magic, I don't know what is. Okay? My clock on my watch is going to move slower than yours. Okay? Because of time dilation. All right? GPSs have to recorrect their time clock all the time. All right? In order to give us accurate time on Earth because of their farther distance of stronger gravity. All right? Stronger the gravity, slower the time moves. Okay? That's magic. I'm sorry. Okay? All right? That's my magic in life, and I will always love to have it. But this here, this, guys, watch this video. When this woman, when this girl takes off her hand and puts it on the table and uses her mind to move the hand that's not attached to her arm anymore. Oh my God. Guys, this, do you have any idea what it's like to see the world from a perspective, okay? Being born in 1974, which is the year I was born, and be able to see the growth of technology, okay? And I don't just mean technology. I mean technology from the perspective of movies, okay? All right? Even the spectacular desire to want to see something in a movie that I knew I would never see in my lifetime. The Borok, okay? Of Lord of the Rings. That moment still exists in my heart. This moment, as of today, is a new era that I get to experience why I love living. Okay? Never in the history of existence did I ever thought that I will be able to experience the growth of technology from the 80s to this moment that I'm having right now. Okay, first time I watched this video and I had to make a video about it. This is the success of every failure that we have had in decades of trying to get here. Okay, and it's just, it gives you hope because you're replacing something that you lost. Yeah, that feeling might not be there. Yeah, you might have phantom pains, but you'll still be able. Okay? I can't imagine what it's like to even have a finger lost. Okay? And this poor girl, okay, from a very young age, had no hands. Both of them. And now she has hands. She has hands that she can control across the room and not even attached. Yo, this is not science fiction. This is reality. I can't tell you the last time I felt this type of happiness as far as internal self-existent wealth. Okay? All right? this story doesn't bring tears to my eyes. What it does is it brings happiness to my heart, because never did I thought that this would ever be capable, even centuries after my death. Man, 80s is a great time to live, man. Okay? All right? And now, okay, 20 years later, okay, I'm 50 years old, all right? And I still have moments in my life where I am revaluing my self-worth of what it's like to live on earth, to be a human being, and to experience life in a unique way that is uncomparable to anything else. Okay, and this is one of those moments. Okay, I want you to sit back and think about. First of all, you're never going to know how this woman feels, but there's not a sense of. I mean, all I see coming off this girl is just. Not only is she willing to talk about it, she's happy to talk about her hands, okay, and her arms, okay. This is technology from a perspective of what it was all worth to get to this point. Every failure created this success, and I want. If I accomplish one thing with my studying, which is my mission in life, okay, and what you don't know about me, I'm going to tell you something personal, okay, all right, I have a habit, okay, all right, give me the most gangsterous person on this planet who is heartless, and I will spin my mission and succeed to make that fucker smile or laugh out of the blue. That's my mission. My mission in life is to create laughter. Meaning that my job every day, my existence and my purpose of living, my mission, okay, and my purpose, not only to educate, but to at least make one person smile or laugh every day. And I do that. Okay? All right? And trust me, there are people that I worked on for months, but I eventually got them. I get every one of them. I'm going to make you smile. Now, George Costanza's mother, not sure if I'm capable of handling something at that altitude, or magnitude, sorry. Okay, but I'm serious. This video here is a keystone moment in my life, and I want it to be a keystone moment of yours too, not as a sense of entertainment, but a sense of reality. Now, if you're an IT person, as I described my life, if you have that within you, okay, that this video is going to do that, because you know this is who you are. All right, from the time, and I want you to think about it. Go back into history, okay, the things that I've done with gasoline, that I've done with match heads, that I've done with explosions, which I've done with light, which I've done with the sun, as far as magnifying glasses, shadows, and things of that nature. Okay, what I have done as far as learning how to work on my. Now, keep in mind, there's not a thing on this planet, okay, besides going to school, that I have been a part of in my life, like car stereos, working on my own car, knowing how engines work. Okay, now I can't rebuild an engine, but still, okay, all right, I am self-contained and I'm self-taught, even networking, okay, even computers. That's how I got my first computer job, all right, seriously, all right, learning the components and how a computer works by myself, okay, this is who I am, all right. Now, if you think I have game when it comes to females, no, I don't need it. I mean, it would be nice, but let's have the reality. That's not who I am. Okay? Who I am is this video here. Okay? That's why it is so personally and emotionally personal because you got to understand. When I first got into computers, we would get this huge ass magazine called the I don't know what the hell it was called, but it had the big ass word on it, computer, and man, that thing was thicker than a Sears catalog. Okay, or a what was the other huge catalog that was out there? I can't remember. As a matter of fact, it was a store that was in Annapolis, Maryland, which is no longer there. But it was known for its huge ass catalog. As a matter of fact, it had to stop making them because the cost was draining their money. All right, because of the color pictures and stuff like that. I mean, this thing was humongous. Okay, all right, just like a Sears catalog. And that's how these computer magazines were. And every weekend, okay, I and my friend would go to the computer show. That was the biggest thing back then, right? And you gotta understand, I got my first computer in 1994 when the first Pentiums came out, okay, Pentium 100s. So that was a long time ago, but I would always get these computer magazines, okay? And like I said, it's not a magazine. This thing was a solid Bible book, okay? All right? Okay, and obviously a lot of advertisements, stuff like that, but a lot of knowledge as well. And every weekend, wherever the computer show was, in Annapolis, Glen Burnie, Cockeysville, Baltimore, we would go, okay? All right? And this was life to me, okay? When I started doing car stereos, that was life to me, okay? All right, my computer career was life. Networking is my life. You can obviously see that with the results of my videos, okay? This here, from the moment I have done electronics on my own, replace resistors, learn how to solder on my own, okay, all these things, this is who I am. So would you not be surprised how this particular video, looking at a woman with hands that is attached to her muscles that she uses, that she controls with her brain, okay? She might be using these hands with her brain, but that's not really the case. The case is the hands are reacting to the muscles that she's really controlling in her brain. Okay? All right? The tendons and stuff in the forearm and things like that. Okay? All right? But nonetheless, when she takes her hand off, okay, whatever movement she makes as far as the muscles in her forearms, the hand responds. God, guys, come on. This is sci-fi fiction shit. Okay? And it's now our reality. Okay? The most difficult course or class that I ever took in high school, check this out. The name of this class, okay? Now everybody else that was going to this, it was called VOTAC. So you went to school, and a couple times a week you would leave school at 11 o'clock, okay? Now you had to apply to this program to get it, right? You leave at 11 o'clock, and the rest of your day was at this vocational school, okay? And you got to pick your class, okay? And I didn't know what to pick until this title came across my eyeball. All right, you could do electricity, right? And now think about this. As you are learning electricity, okay, your final project that's graded is, and I'm not kidding, yo, they bring in a quarter of a house inside the building, right? And you have to wire it as an electrician. Yo, come on, guys. Tell me that's not cool as shit. This was the coolest part of my childhood. I hated school, but I loved VOTAC. Okay, you had welders. Okay, you had machinists really lathing metal. Can you actually think about that? Literally putting metal on a lathe, okay, and turning it into a cylinder. All right, being very machine precise with your threads. Okay, all right, creating threads on a piece of steel to create a screw, and the female aspect of where the screw will go into, right? Small engines, okay? But I fell in love with this title and could not wait, and it was the hardest class I ever took. Electrical mechanical robotics. Wow. You know what I got to learn in that class? First of all, I got to learn how to create frisbees. That was the project, okay? And every student was graded. Okay, now it's only electrical mechanical robotics. I mean, how many people are going to join that class? Guys, probably like less than 10. Okay, where the machinist and the welding part, man, that was like 20, 30 people in the class, right? Okay. I mean, it takes a certain type of person to take that type of class, and that starts with the love and desire of that title. Okay. So our first project, the first project was a frisbee, and everyone got judged on the levelness of your frisbee, okay, and you had to make it, all right. So you would make it out of cardboard, out of plastic, whatever materials that you can make, okay. You had to make it, all right. Now, you could use, and the cool thing about it is you could do anything, okay. You could use little tiny rocks for leveling out the actual flight path. When you threw it, how long did it stay in the air? How far did it go? You were graded by these methods. Okay, all right. So the second one, which I failed miserably. Okay, but it wasn't a contest of like that. Your grade wasn't just the product; it was the thought process behind it. Okay, and that was bridge building. Okay. Now, the bridge building aspect was graded by how much weight we could put on the bridge before it collapsed, and I mean like 2.5 pounds at a time. Okay, all right, and obviously the more weight you could hold, the higher grade you got. Okay, all right, but what I was shined as, and check this out. Okay, working on working and fixing and knowing the interworkings of a washing machine and dryer. Literally taking the auger thing that goes back and forth on the washing machine, taking that apart and opening up the gearbox for that. Okay, all right, and fixing things that was wrong. Okay, this was the coolest class ever. Okay, now. For whatever reason, I ended up leaving that school, so I never got to physically finish that course, getting to the point of the robotics. But everything else that I've learned before that, especially even electrical engineering as far as theory is concerned, volts, amps, all that stuff. Okay, this was the class of classes. Okay, and it was only for the rare people that found this interesting. All right. Okay, because anybody else would have found it boring and would have slept through the class. All right, that's what I feel like watching this video. I felt like I felt when I was in that class. Purpose. Kudos to engineering. Kudos to our type of engineering. Okay, all right. As far as a networking aspect, kudos to physicists, to biologists, to every person with a strong skill set that has made this a reality for me. And I cannot, in the next 50 years of my life, believe that I'm ever going to see anything more amazing than this. Guys, when we talked about robotics back in the day, it was still a science fiction phenomenon that was the vision of these people in robotics, but something that we knew we were never going to see. Okay, I'm never going to travel in space, even if it's commercially available and I can afford it. Okay, I like being on Earth. Okay, but I guarantee you I will never see anything else more amazing than the desire and dream of this being possible and seeing it today. This video was a complete shock. I'm glad I saw it, but that's the end of what I have to say about this. I'm going to end, and I'll see you guys on the next one. And that is it.